onto the stream. Um, and I just also popped in our the YouTube channel for Behind the Art. Twitch series videos get deleted after like 10 days or maybe 2 weeks. So some of the ones from the very beginning aren't actually up on Twitch anymore. You have to go to the YouTube to see them. So some really awesome ones from the past. I mean, there are so many, like A Lot of Money, No Shot, Conlin, Steve. A lot of them are going to be on the YouTube channel that you can see there. But thank you all for, coming in on here. I'm hoping we can get Sparrow back in the next couple of minutes. And if not, we will figure out what to do and maybe have a reschedule. But hoping we can get her back because she's an awesome guest. Let's do blind test. What is blind test, Ogar? I don't know what that is. Tell me what that is, and then we'll see. Hey, A Lot of Money. So we're just waiting for Sparrow to pop back in. I'm not sure if she is having trouble with her internet or what's going on there. She says everything is stuck. This might have to be something that we'll schedule. Would Ogar like to jump in if Sparrow can't make it? That'd be funny. Just switch to a new stream halfway through. You put on music, and someone has to tell what music it is and who is the artist. Works with NFTs as well. Or can we interview you? That would be a fun idea. I also don't want to take away. Oh, give me 1 second. She might be calling on Discord. Maybe this will work if she can call in. Hey, Sparrow, can you hear me?
Interesting. That works.
Hey.
I wonder what's wrong with Zoom.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you guys actually hear Sparrow through this? Because this actually might be perfect. A little bit of a workaround. Oh, sweet. It looks like they can hear you.
Okay. There we are. Fall back to Discord because Discord always works.
All right. All right, let me see if I can get. Oh, they're saying audio sounds amazing. All right, well, maybe I'll just have to do all my streams on Discord from now on. Learning something new. I'm sorry about that. What a weird. I just don't know what happened there. So I apologize.
This is a lesson that we learned through the weekly whip, right? When in-world sound doesn't work, fall back to Discord because Discord always works.
That's very true. Right now, it's a bit of a. In order to stream, I have to set it up in a certain way, so I can't share my screen to show you right now, or else I'll have to stop the stream again. Do you want to just go through with audio? Is that okay with everyone? Or do you want to? We can totally restart so I can share my entire screen as well. What do you think? I'm not sure if I'd be able to get
It's
both
up to everybody.
Let's see. They said the audio is amazing. You know, let's go with audio for now because it's working. Yeah, people are like, it's fine like this. And the audio is clear and sounds really awesome. And I really want to get to the meat of everything and just continue this conversation. So let's just keep going. Thank you guys for sticking with me on this. And I'm glad you did get to see Sparrow's amazing studio behind her. A Lot of Money just came into the chat and said, "What's up, Sparrow?" Super
hello.
Here. Okay, so let's just keep going. Very sorry about that, and now I'm losing track exactly what we were talking about when we cut off, but we can just pick it up and start wherever.
Yeah, we were Havo was asking about my accent, I think. And I was just saying, so people here in the UK immediately know that I'm not from the UK and ask me where I'm from, even after 20 odd years. But then if I go back to the US or I talk to anybody from the US, they think I have a really strong British accent.
That's funny.
I don't know. I'm somewhere. Maybe I am in Ireland. I don't know.
Yeah, somewhere in the middle, right? Um, no, that's funny. And then I think we had another question come in from. I'm scrolling up here to see who asked it. They asked about. Oh, here we are. Asked about if there's any encaustic wax workshops in the UK. Maybe you run any possibly.
No, I actually went to Seattle to do to learn the
Oh wow.
techniques for encaustic wax. So I went. I guess it was 2 years ago now.
Wow. That
Yeah, and did a workshop with. I'll post a link somewhere so that it's there with the interview. Her name's Alicia Torme, and she is part Irish.
oh, maybe that's where your inspiration for your so Dat Ogre said your language is decentralized as well. So you're taking that extreme to every part of your life. That's very
Everything
funny.
is decentralized, yes.
Yes. Mr. Lee Mason, no problem. Um, very cool. So when we cut out briefly, I was just chatting with everyone and talking a little bit about what we were talking about before the stream started. And we started talking a little bit about the trash art movement and the message behind the movement, which I told you that I feel like sometimes gets a little bit muddied with some of the, uh, I guess, like Twitter, basically with Twitter. Twitter is an amazing resource that obviously so many of us use and has connected this space in a way that I've never seen before. And I love Twitter. If I had to give up everything else but one platform, I would keep Twitter. Discord second, but Twitter first. And it's done amazing things, but it also has this very weird thing where, in my opinion, it like dehumanizes people, and you start to just see this brand or this like persona, but you don't see the person behind the work as much on Twitter, which is what a lot of the goal with this show is, to give that deeper connection that you don't get on different platforms. So, anyways, we were talking a little bit about that before the show, and you do so many amazing things in the space and connecting artists. And I just want to get your view on what that movement is doing, and maybe you can explain a little bit for people in the audience that might not know about the trash art movement as well. And if that's even the right thing to call it.
Yeah, well, I don't know because I mean I'm not part of that so
Right.
much really. Or I wouldn't say that I was. Um, really, it's not my thing. Um, but I know a lot of people who are involved in that, and I'm in some of the groups that they're in, and I'm in the groups that they're in because they're doing interesting things, and that they have a culture and a point to make, and they have. Oh, I'll preface everything by saying I'm not a spokesperson.
Oh, I know. Yeah, totally.
Um,
And
but
by the way, the reason why I even brought it up is because I got some messages before we came on, and just a private message from someone asking us to talk about it, and from both of our perspectives. So that's also why I'm bringing it up.
and I think it's a really good thing to actually have more discussion around, right? It's it's a good thing for the community as a whole to have discussions around. And it's kind of sad in a way that the people who do have firsthand experience of making the trash can art, which is different to trash art. So there is this misconception or conflagration of what these different things are. But I mean, the point really, as far as I've taken away, is art is what artists do.
Mm-hmm.
That's the definition of art. So if you're an artist and that's what you're doing, and that's art, and no one else can say that it's not art. You can not like it, which is fine, but you can't say that it's not art. And the other flip side of that is, because there was such a strong, the trash art stuff was a reaction to something that happened, which is interesting and a very good, in my opinion, again, very good reason to do art. Is, you have something to say and you want to say it. That's art. And there was such a reaction, a backlash against it, that it made the people who were doing it feel a solidarity, feel a part of a group.
Mm.
And they actually, have a community within the community, which is awesome to see, right? Because
Agreed.
It included a lot of very new artists, the scene to crypto art, and it included them in a way that they were just having fun, right? They didn't know about any of this other stuff, or if they did, it didn't matter, because that kind of art, that quick photo mosh kind of art, is really fun to make.
And it looks cool. I mean, a lot of the photo mosh stuff is visually, it is very cool. And it's like you can put your own spin on your piece of art in so many different ways, which I don't think is a bad thing. And I talked about that a little bit on Coldie's episode as well. And I agree with you. Art is kind of what an artist decides art is, what they decide to create. And what you're talking about, a community within a community, is a lot of the reason why I think it is important to have those groups where people feel accepted and feel like their voices are heard, because that does so many amazing things for the community. But also, in some way, I feel like with some of what I was talking about that happens on Twitter, where things get misunderstood or there's this weird kind of like dialogue going on, people are losing some of that core importance of why a group like this does matter and is important and is quite cool actually to have.
Yes, and it also feeds into something else that is probably a good topic to discuss, and that is, how do we we talk about onboarding people. When I say onboarding people, I don't actually mean how do we teach them about wallets and how do we teach them about website, Web3 sites and platforms and, things. When I say onboard people, I mean make them a part of the community, have them feel a part of the community. That to me is onboarding new artists.
Yeah. No,
That
I completely
their
agree.
voices get added to this beautiful, vibrant, diverse thing that we have going on here.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you there. And I agree with you on that. And I think that is like what makes NFT art and the NFT space, crypto space in general, so special. Is that it is such a new blossoming community. There is so much space for everyone, and it doesn't have to be this like competitive, even within not just between artists. We have such different styles ourselves, but even between games, there's enough room for everyone. There's so much room that we need more talent, more, different types of people in the space to really tell the full story of the space. So that's why it's important, yeah, for yourself, for me, for other people that are trying to get behind this. That's why it is important to accept different ideas, not to become one unit in the NFT space where we only believe a certain set of rules, or
Yeah.
else if we did, we would have never gotten to the space that we are today. We would say like, oh, NFTs that can update, like what async is doing. NFTs aren't supposed to update. They shouldn't update. That goes against what they're doing, and then
It
we
should be
wouldn't.
immutable forever, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it would go against some of the really exciting things that we do have, which is just so interesting. And I think putting anyone in a box and like telling people what they should or shouldn't create just like stifles so much creativity. Like, you're saying that art is not something that you have to do full time because you want to have your own creative freedom and you want to express yourself however you want. That those are the kind of communities and kind of leaders we need to tell people that that is completely okay, because that's when like new ideas and new things come out that change the space.
It's also about being, inclusive rather than exclusive. And
Mm-hmm.
it's about, you know, making people feel like their voices are heard
Yeah.
and that their voices are valued. And that's everyone, right? Telling someone to shut up or telling someone that their opinion doesn't matter just isn't the way good solutions come about.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, even if you don't agree, it's always a good idea to listen to what someone with an opposing view has to say,
Yeah.
because it makes you think, should make you think things through and come to a better understanding of what is important to you. Doesn't mean it changes your opinion always. It could do. It doesn't have to. It should help you understand, have a more informed decision about whatever the disagreement is about.
Totally.
But just saying and being dismissive and saying out of hand, no, you're wrong, is, I don't know, a waste of time, really.
Yeah. And let us know in the comments if you guys have any feelings or ideas based on what we just said, because I know a few people definitely wanted us to chat about it. But I do also just think in general, um, Sparrow, you have all of these amazing things that you do in the background and in the foreground, to make an inclusive place for people. And I would love for you to talk about, and I'm sorry I'm forgetting the name of the collective, but you started this or are part of this group in CryptoVoxels. You had an opening. Is it like there are numbers? Is it five?
Oh,
Every
it's 105.
105? Okay, sorry. I kept forgetting that. Do you want to tell everyone a bit about what that is, why that started? And while you're doing that, I think I'm going to find a way. It's going to look a little janky, guys, but I'm finding a way to show both of us on screen right now, so that's why I was moving things around. But if you want to tell a little bit about 105.
Yeah, so that's something quite new. just when lockdown was starting to happen across Europe. The Arts Council England put out a call for submissions for projects to talk about creativity in a time of isolation and how that affects your artistic practice, basically. And Stina Jones found that initially and sent me the link on Twitter and said, "Oh, it'd be really cool if we did something and like applied for this." I said, "Yeah, that would be really, really cool. So let's get a group of us together, and the qualification restriction, because it was Arts Council England, was you had to be resident in England." So I went around and figured out what crypto artists I knew in England. I reached out to them, and it was me, Stina, Karen, Gareth, and Ben, who all said yes. So we had a couple calls and we came up with the idea of doing a project that was an installation in cryptovoxels. They're individual art pieces that we are making in isolation from each other, but exhibiting that in a shared space in cryptovoxels. And then we plan to do an async art collaboration piece, which will be us not creating in isolation, but creating at a distance together. And obviously after the experience of both the First Supper, which you were a part of, and the TXU Totem, that collaboration that happens with async pieces is just that there's nothing like it, really. And it's been my mission to go and share that experience with as many people as possible.
Same, same. I always joke. I'm like, I'm such a cheerleader for async because I so love what they're doing, and even though the minds behind it, especially Conlon, like he is, he's a developer. He is a software engineer, and he does have such a technical mind. He also has a perspective from being a collector and collecting the art, and not only that, facilitating such an amazing space within cryptovoxels, the whole Gangnam community. Um,
Oh,
yeah, and building out something that's just so important to him to advance that world and advance the art scene. He's so much more than just like a tech guy behind it. And I will say, I mean, a project that I get behind, like I get behind 100%. You know what I mean? And I truly mean that with async, because when they are prioritizing the things that they need to do, releasing new things, or just in general the way that they approach the terms, their platform, everything else, it feels like they're truly creating a very welcoming space for artists, for technologists, for all sorts of creators. And I see that through what they're doing. And I would love to see that with more platforms. Not just being a curating service, and there's nothing against those, but not just being a curating service, being more than that, and really advancing the community in different ways, which I think they're doing really well.
yeah. I think they're doing a lot of things differently to some of the more established platforms, and I think that that probably is partially to do with personalities, like you say, but also partly to do with the actual technology itself. And I mean, people are probably tired of hearing me say this, but that ongoing connection between artists and between artists and collectors because of that platform is such a changer. The whole artist collector relationship and experience. Collectors don't just buy the piece and then wait for the next piece, right? They buy the piece and they can do things with it, and they can stay in touch with and become a co-creator, really, with the artist. And that's an amazing power. We've not seen any, we've only just started scratching the surface of that, I think.
I completely agree with you. And having that sweet spot where, like you said, where the collector is almost becoming that co-creator, that is where you get a piece that means so much to that collector that they're going to be doing special things with that piece, or have really strong hands, or whatever it is. It gives that additional layer of just uniqueness and deep feeling towards the piece, towards the artist, towards all sorts of things. So I think that's really exciting what they're doing, and I would just love to see more of that. And as they open up, as their tools are getting better and less manual, they can open up to more and more people. And recently, I've seen the list of all of the artists that they brought on, and they basically doubled the amount of people that were on the platform. That's super exciting, and it was actually a ton of artists that I was not familiar with myself, which makes me really excited because I'm like, hell yeah, some new stuff that I haven't seen yet, and a new style, which is exciting for everyone in the space. We did have
I can remember having a conversation with a lot of money and about async. He basically, I think, had a similar reaction to me when he first was told about it. I didn't sleep for days because my mind was just racing with all of the different things that now allowed me to do as an artist. And
totally
conversation with him really was the new ways that you can tell stories through this is just mind-blowing.
Yeah, and the ways that you can tell a story with so many people. Like when we did the first supper, that has 13 artists in it, and you can see all of those artists in that piece when you're scanning, line by line and corner by corner. You see the different styles come through, which I think is super special with that piece. That I just love that about it. And it's funny because the art, like the platform was created and kind of this like amazing new concept and idea. And I remember when I was speaking to Conlon on the phone about it before it launched, and I was like, well, what if as an artist I want to keep my own piece, like what, or a portion of it? And he was like, well, we haven't thought about that, but sure, I guess you can. And now it seems so normal. Of course, I'm going to keep a layer of my own. I'm going to adjust it this way. I'm going to adjust it that way. So it's interesting to see what we haven't thought of before, and now we're just seeing come a part of the norm of it. So if you guys haven't checked it out yet, definitely check it out. There's always new works popping up on there, and regardless of if you're looking to collect or not, the community over there and the people behind the platform are really really amazing. And one of my favorite things to do is just, if I see that there's an auction going, they'll do Discord audio sometimes, and I'll just pop in and talk about the art on auction at that moment, just to sort of like get the conversation going and ask questions about it. And it's really fun to get to know the other artists that way as well. We had someone. Oh, go ahead.
Another good example, though, is what Colin started off on the Osanachi piece
Mm-hmm.
with all the men.
Yep.
And turning them to silhouettes.
Yep.
And by the end, when all but two were silhouettes, because all of the collectors of all of those layers got together and changed it. It's really, really powerful.
Totally agree. Yeah, you can do some absolutely powerful things, and it's not only in the hands of the artists, it's also in the hands of the collectors, which is amazing. Frank Conway asked, what is Sparrow's view on buyers creating shards of an artist's work? So the collectors creating the shards.
This is a Niftex thing, yeah. So I don't see any problem with it. I would hope that they are implementing the 10% of the shards going to the original artist as a as a kind of royalty payment. But there's no, you bought the NFT, so it's your artwork. As a collector, you can do what you like with it. It's an interesting new concept in shared ownership, or in getting a return on your investment as a collector. I don't understand the value of why someone would buy a shard. That's potentially just me. I don't know what benefit it gives shard owners.
All right, that's fair. That's fair enough. I don't know. I guess I'd have to think about it, but I guess beyond, like, I've heard of different, like a Warhol or something being sold in shards, which I guess in that way, when you're buying it within a portfolio and, it gets sold and you get that portion of it or whatever it is, maybe it just makes sense as a diversification of your assets. But right now we're so early, and I don't know. A lot of it depends on what the art was initially acquired at, I would guess. But I definitely don't know enough personally to give a weigh in on that.
Yeah, so from what I understand, right, as long as it is sharded, only with the Niftex solution, and that, somebody correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. It sounded like on something sharded, you would have to go through and buy up all of the shards as a person, right? Then get control back of the NFT, because the NFT is effectively in escrow while it's sharded. So there wouldn't be sale as a return on value.
Oh, interesting.
Right?
Huh. And what happens if what happens if the platform goes down, and then what, the item that's in escrow gets released back to the, hopefully gets released back to the original owner, and then the shards are just obsolete?
I assume so. It's all very, very new. Yeah. So I don't know a lot of the details. I got it at a fairly high level. And I know that they were approached. Next copy, actually, I think, brought up the 10% royalties. Are effectively selling on that piece of art.
Yeah.
By sharding it.
Yeah. Huh, that's interesting. That's also an interesting, just thing to bring up, because the blockchain technology has given artists a new power that they haven't had before, which is what you're talking about, the royalties in the background, and whether that's through sharding and maybe that's not being passed on. But also, I feel like we've made such significant strides within the NFT community that many platforms have gotten behind and said, okay, we'll do this as well because that's what's right. That's what the artists want. That's what collectors want. Whatever it is. But that's been able to happen, which has been amazing because you wouldn't. It doesn't necessarily benefit the platforms to do it. Besides the fact that we want it, and to see the. I'd love to see more of it for sure, but to see the overall welcoming and implementation from all the platforms has been something that's huge. And I know you were a big part of this yourself, Matt Kane. A lot of the artists, even listening into this, were a big part of it in the background, just forming the right words to reach out to these platforms and just banding everyone together to realize why this is so important.
Yes. And it's interesting because I think in a way it was the relationships between artists that got formed or deepened during that beginning period of async art, right? Is what allowed that type of coordination to happen. Don't know that it would have happened if it hadn't been for that large group of artists working on the First Supper together.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I completely agree. And that piece also, especially at least for me being involved in it, was a really nice introduction to I had known obviously at least at some level most if not all the artists that were a part of it, but being able to get behind the dialogue and talking privately with the artists and to create a piece that was still so individual. Our pieces were individual to us, but to work together to create not only the artwork itself, but what Async did really, really well, in my opinion, was they got feedback from the artists about the platform, how they wanted it sold. What we our dialogue literally changed and influenced the way that they created the platform. We said if it's going to be an art piece that has 13 artists in it, and it gets sold, that needs to equally be divided between the 13 artists trustlessly. We shouldn't have it minted from my wallet or your wallet and then hope that we can do the right math or are around or honest enough or whatever it is to be able to do that separation. So it was exciting to see a platform kind of not have to take considerations after the fact, but doing it right up front was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and I think that's actually another thing that sets them apart from a lot of some of the other platforms, and that is the artists have been involved every step of the way, before it even was a platform, and not retrofitting things. They're building it out based on real use case, real requirements, real, people saying, I need to be able to do this.
Yep.
One of the only other platforms I know of that does that is Mintbase. Right? They're the two platforms that listen to what people want and then respond to that rather than saying, here's what we've done, go use it.
Right. Yeah. I'm not as familiar with Mintbase, but I've heard great things about it. And I know that they are also using Arweave on their back end as well, I think. So it seems like they're always trying to implement new, better ideas, which is kind of cool.
And it, they won't take what people request and do that. Right? So they're not sitting there thinking, okay, I'm going to add this feature. They're taking requests and saying, okay, that specific thing that this person wants to do, how is that applicable to everybody? that's what I'll implement.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Do you want to tell everyone listening in here what either something you've been really excited about that you've recently been working on, or something that you're looking forward to, that you have in mind that you're going to be working on soon?
All the 105 collective stuff.
Yep.
Really, really excited about that.
How can people find that, by the way?
It's a so 105collective.co.uk is the website. And doing that installation and doing that async piece is going to be amazing, because it's just an amazing group of people. And then once that's done, I believe, as nothing changes, plan is to open the collective up to more people if they're interested in joining, and collaborating with us and deciding what that next project will be and who it's going to include. So that's exciting.
That's very exciting. Is there a way that people can get involved with 105 Collective? Is there like a Discord or something that people can just have conversations with the people already a part of the group?
Not yet. No. I think at the moment we're heads down doing our individual pieces and then doing this async collab, which takes a lot of time. Once the installation is open, then all of that stuff will get put in place, because that's when we'll start to try and engage with more people. Part of the installation is going to be engaging with people, so part of the space in the installation is going to be for anyone, blockchain based or not, who feels a connection with the work that we've done and would like to contribute a work of their own. We reserve space in the installation to display other people's artworks. So that's a nice way of engaging with a broader community, and beyond just our group. I'm really excited to do art salons as part with gonna organize some art talks in CV. Giselle X has done them in real life.
We were just talking about it the last stream.
Right. We're going to organize some that people can attend in CryptoVoxels. That's another thing that I'm excited about. And we're going to do art tours. So because we had that really cool walk from the whip to No Shots place in CryptoVoxels, walking tours became, a thing. Really fun. So we're going to organize some art tours in different districts, different areas, neighborhoods, and then actually have like a guide, like we had with the original CryptoVoxels art tour that we did last November. We'll have a guide. There'll be a guide to galleries. We'll have a guided tour to take people around galleries, hopefully have gallery owners or artists available to talk about some of the works that we see in world. And that's exciting too, because it should mean that it's an accessible way for people to experience art, not just buy it, not just see it, but actually go have that rich experience of it.
Those are exciting things. Yeah, no, those are really exciting things. I'm super pumped to see the piece that you guys are going to put out on Async. and kind of see that group to come together, especially because I'm assuming that there are at least some of the people that are going to be on there that haven't maybe yet been like accepted into async because of the manual process, but you're bringing them in through this collaboration, which is really awesome to see. How many people are going to be a part of that collaborative piece?
So there's five of us.
Okay.
So it's me, Stina Jones,
Yep.
Urban
Mm-hmm.
F on Twitter, Gareth, who is Unreal City on Twitter, and Karen, who is Ocular Delusion on Twitter.
Okay. That'll be an amazing piece and really fun to see what you guys do for the different layers of that. And then, of course, what you're talking about with these, salons or in these pop ups and the guided tours, all of that is just so much of what I find so important, and I know you find really important with the community building and making it feel like a welcoming space for everyone. So, yeah, yeah, that's gonna be really exciting to see, and the fact that you can do it all from your home on a URL is pretty amazing, especially right now with not traveling and everything like that. It's amazing that we've been able to do these, collective and community things with a little bit of a workaround, and now it's becoming a part of our normal, the weekly meetups, coming a part of our normal weekly tasks, which is pretty cool to see. Um,
Yeah.
or Benji asked, "What are your thoughts on Somnium Space? Have you experimented there yet? Will you invest in a VR headset at some point soon?" And while you're answering that, just if anyone has more questions for Sparrow, feel free to put them in the chat as well.
I have a VR headset. I've got a Quest. What I don't have is time.
Yeah.
At the moment to actually fully explore it. And I actually don't think that the builder in Somnium, certainly when I had time back in March, you couldn't do the builder on the Quest. You needed the one that's hooked up to a proper Windows computer. I don't have a Windows computer, so builder doesn't work for me. I have a parcel in Somnium Space. 3. I sold one. I gave one to the TCBA. They're waiting the builder to be able to work, the builder to be available on Mac, that they can build a space there. And I've kept one parcel for myself. So as soon as I can build, I will, because I think although cryptovoxels will always be my first love, I think will always be where my heart resides. But the whole multiverse thing of being able to jump from one space to another in kind of the same way that we as a community do in jumping from Twitter to Discord to Telegram to, base or wherever, right? There are all sorts of different spaces. Some of them are 3D worlds and some of them are not 3D worlds, but they're all different spaces. And I think all of them together contribute to this virtual reality that we all share, because it's becoming a shared space, and that's the basis of the community that I see, and that's what makes, in my view, this community different to other art communities. It isn't just based around one forum or one platform or even one means of communication. It's everywhere, always.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you on all those things. And especially, or even with the question about Somnium specifically, I know that they have grown a lot since they first started and made some pivotal choices that I think were really great. And I know that they are excited about interoperability. So that'll be nice, once they do grow a bit more to sort of see that come to fruition and see our maybe wearables working in both worlds or whatever it is. To see that happening will also, I think, bring that excitement to wanting your identity within Somnium as well, and not just cryptovoxels. So that will be pretty exciting. Let me know if you guys have more questions in here as well. And feel free and keep typing while I do this. But near the end of these, I do rapid fire questions, which are obviously just fun and nothing serious. No problem, or Benji. They're very glad they asked, so thank you for your answer, Sparrow. I want to ask you some of these questions, and then we'll see if there are more questions that come in from everyone in the chat afterwards. But let's get started on these. Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Both for different reasons.
Okay. What if I made you pick one? Would you?
I never pick just one.
Okay.
Never.
All right. Well, what about this? I'll switch the question on you. Would you pick a third?
Have Korea.
Okay. All right. That's a good answer. Go back 1 year or forward 1 year?
Forward. Always.
Yep. It's funny because that question often the answer is forward often, I think for everyone so far, and they always, after saying that, say always. So it's funny that it has such a strong reaction that, like, always forward, never moving backwards. I love that. Last and
if you thought differently, you wouldn't be in this space, I don't think.
No, that's true. And then until I get a true trader on the stream, and then of course they're gonna say backwards, because then they know what trades they could have made all year and probably be doing far better than most traders. Last NFT or physical art piece that you purchased?
Last NFT that I purchased was She Could Be Your Grandma, by PX99, who started off doing pixel chain artworks. So he's got a space in CV with his 99 pixel chain artworks, some of which are really, really amazing. That's how I became aware of him. And then he started posting some really amazing pieces on Maker's Place. And that's the second one of his that I've collected so far. So yeah, that's the last NFT. That's the last digital piece. The last physical artwork I didn't actually buy. I got the little orange capsule from Hodler.rocks.
Yep, I have mine. Oh, here. Whoops.
And just over the moon with that. It's so intricate and beautiful and lovely and thoughtful of him to do something like that. So that was the last physical piece.
I don't think you can see me, Sparrow, but I'm showing mine on the screen so people can see it.
Oh, excellent.
I also have we met in San Francisco at the Bitcoin 2019 conference. So I also have this awesome Waves of Change with Satoshi riding the waves from him. Such cool pieces.
Yeah, so I have the ginkgo one.
Oh yeah, that one's beautiful. That one's really beautiful.
Really, really is. Got number 10.
Oh, that's good. You sealed off that edition. Morning person or night owl?
Morning.
Okay. Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Cats?
5.
You have 5 cats? Wow.
Yeah.
I definitely, well, I grew up with cats and I love cats. And when I do get one, I definitely don't want one. I want two. So they have someone to play with. Um, but it's funny, my fiance also wants two dogs. So when we get pets, we're probably going to get four all at once. Wish us luck there. Decentraland, Cryptovoxels, or Somnium Space?
To voxel.
I
The
figured.
community
Yeah, absolutely.
makes that.
Window or aisle seat?
I'll probably.
Aisle.
Yeah.
Someone in the past or present in crypto that you'd like to meet?
I want CoinFest to go ahead because all of the artists that went last year, I want to meet. So it isn't a person, it's that group. It's a bunch of artists. And it's people like Hodler.rocks and
Yes.
Physique and Trevor Jones and it goes on and on. That group of artists are people that I want to get to have a drink with.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. Favorite food?
Popcorn.
Popcorn. Oh, that's a good one. That's one of my good friends' favorite food. Texting or calling?
Texting, definitely.
Would you want to live forever?
No.
No. If you would you
Get
want to live
bored.
longer than you do now? Maybe not forever, but longer.
No.
No.
No. I want to make the most of every day.
All right.
And that's the only thing that really matters.
That's an awesome answer. Okay, last question on here, and then we had a couple come in from the audience. Describe the NFT space in 3 words.
Exciting, exhilarating, and exhausting.
I love it. The triple E, the triple threat. That's so funny. Okay, cool. So we had Frank Conway ask, I'm not an artist, but I've started with the intention to create every day. What advice do you have to show up every day? He also asked, did you find the photo of your grandma after?
Haven't yet. No, I need to dig that out. It'll be in a box of photos on a shelf. It might take me a little while. Daily practice, really important. Do it whether you feel like it or not, and keep doing it. The other side of that I think is really important, the other side of it that I found important was sharing that work. Not only did I do it on a daily basis, I posted it on Query, and that then gave me feedback. And I could then look back on all of the things that I'd posted and see a progression, and see things emerge. I started doing a daily practice again recently, and it's little color studies. So I choose a color, generally based around there's a thing on Twitter called the Color Collective, and they do a color each week. So I start with that one the week, and I just do these little spontaneous works where I'm looking at what mood does this color evoke, and how can I get that mood across in the work in about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And I've started tokenizing those as a collection on Rarible. People seem to like them, so that's quite good.
That's a good initiative. I mean, like just taking something else, like this outside influence, like a color palette, and seeing what you can create from that is really interesting. And you could do that with anything, Frank. Like you could really, I mean, you could let your lunch decide what you create. Like, what does, you know, there's just, and that's a silly example, but you can think, oh, where were these items sourced from? You can like go on so many, everything has art behind it, or at least you could be inspired by everything, I guess is a better way to say it. So a simple thing like you picking colors and seeing what emotion they evoke and creating a piece based off of it, you can really do that with anything. So I think that's a great idea. Dat Ogar, yeah, colors are dope. Gemini Rising Media, where can I find the Color Collective on Twitter? Just looked it up but couldn't find it.
It's color with a U. It's
Okay.
a UK thing.
Okay, we'll see if you still can't find it, pop into my Discord and message and we'll find it and link it.
I'll post a link.
Oh, perfect. Matt Kane said, I love the piece Shutter I picked up. Reminded me of my early 20s.
Excellent. I saw that. I wondered why that particular one. So
that's awesome, Matt. I'll have to check those out. And how long have you been doing those daily?
I think I'm on the 5th week now.
Wow. So a lot.
There should be, I think, well, maybe I'm on the 6th week, going into the 6th week. So there's about 30 there now.
That's exciting. Oh, or Benji, thank you for color_collective. Thank you. Awesome. Glad you found it. And thank you for sharing the link. Perfect. This was really amazing. If there's anything that you want to, can you tell us where to find you on Twitter? And if there's any other platform, like I know that you have pieces on multiple platforms, which is really amazing. So if you want to tell everyone also where they can search for your work, I think you might be getting some DMs about your physical crows up there. So we'll see about that too.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I purposefully am on every platform I can be on. Still have time to do other things. And that's partially because I'm curious by nature. It's also because I was doing a series of explanations about platforms, and I don't think it would have been fair to give an opinion about a platform and how it works without actually being there and doing it myself. So I did tokenize on all of these platforms so that I could see how they worked. Go to blackbox.art, not dot spelled out like my Twitter handle, but an actual dot. And it lists all of the links to all of the different platforms that I'm on are there. Easiest way.
Yep. No, and I've seen your site. You have it pretty. It's right front and center. You just click the links and see where to go. That's perfect. I think everyone in the audience and myself, I'm super excited to just see what you have coming up and all of the exciting things that you're working on, and all the people that you're working with. I think that's such a beautiful aspect of, you know, something you're passionate about that you bring to your work. So I'm really excited about that. I want to keep connecting with you and seeing what we can do to, as you were saying earlier, onboard, and maybe not necessarily by setting up a wallet, but onboarding people into a open and space where they can truly be themselves and think and not necessarily just be totally influenced by a complete movement, but have their own storyline within. So I'm really thankful that you're doing that, and you and it's funny, Matt Kane, I just feel like both of you are so well spoken, and sometimes I struggle to find certain words for things, and you're both very good at that. So I look up to you guys in that. My speech is always like here and there. But you're both very, very good at that. So kudos to you. Kudos to your art, and you just taking the time to do this. Thank you, because I know you have multiple full-time jobs. Thank you for coming on here. And this chat was, minus the technical difficulties, more than what I wanted it to be. And I just always feel really welcome and great chatting with you, even brief or long.
Same.
So I appreciate you coming on here.
It was the same. I must say, the first time we interacted, in the first supper, I was a bit in awe. Yeah, because I was like, oh, that's Josie. And she does like all of these really cool things and goes to all the conferences and knows all the people and everything. Yeah. And it was just really nice and lovely to realize that, or just another person.
Yep, I'm just
a really nice person at that, right? So I think, yeah, people. It's funny how we build people up in our heads,
right?
And we really don't know them. So just so everybody, doesn't make the same mistake I did, are super approachable and super nice.
Thank you.
I've had a lovely chat with you.
That's very nice of you. Yeah, and I will say on that note, it's funny because I've had a few people say that to me, or I've heard people say it with others as well. And for the most part, if you really want to chat with someone and connect, like, reach out. I think that the space is really open to that. And at the end of the day, we're all just people doing what we love to do and wanting to connect with others. So thank you for that. That's very, very nice of you. And let me just make sure I'm not missing any other things in here. Oh, and just before we go off, just so I can make sure, Gemini Rising Media, where is the Crypto Art School?
I've got, well, the moment it's in Discord.
Mm-hmm.
There are some things planned for Crypto Voxels. So one of the things that should be fairly soon is a library, which will be a resource center where people can find information, right? So links to podcasts and interviews and like the VRAF presentations and just a way to find information in this space so that it's easy for people to point at one place and go, okay, we'll go here and just explore like you would in any
right.
library. That'll be the next thing gets done for the Crypto Art School. But at the moment, there's some channels in the Discord server I set up where we're currently talking about net art and sort of the roots of that movement and what actually, like, what is crypto art, what is net art, what makes something net art, and what makes other things not net art, even though they're on the net. All really cool kind of discussions.
Awesome. Cool. Well, if you guys have more questions, feel free and message myself or Sparrow. This has been an amazing chat. And thank you all, as always, for tuning in, especially bearing with me today with the technical difficulties. Very sorry about that. But thank you all for bearing with me and just always being active in the chat and amazing like you all are. I saw some new faces today that I hadn't seen in the chat before. So definitely thank you for coming along and being a part of this. I really appreciate it. And I'm super excited to have you on, Sparrow. We'll have to do this again soon. But thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.